I like how it gives me the opportunity to leave the meeting as soon as you start recording.
Does it really?
Yeah, it says this meeting is being recorded by the host or participant, and then at that point I have to I have to choose got it or leave meeting.
Have you ever been tempted?
It's just funny to me that it's there. So yeah, it's like, what the hell? He's recording? I'm out.
Peace. Amazing. I'm using that little back and forth, Pat, in this episode somehow, because that was cute. Right, here we go. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full Force Weekly, brought to you by GeneralsJoes Reborn.com with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80. For today's episode, I am joined by the awesome Patrick Notpicard Stewart. In this regular video series, we round up all the week's news in the world of G.I. Joe. What is it, Pat?
As always, it is the Full Force Weekly.
Stamp that bingo card already. We've had a first, as always, and it wasn't me that said it. It was Pat. Thank you, mate. Right. Here we go then. Another weekly. We were supposed to have Justin with us, actually. We're going to have Justin with us as well, but he's had to back out because obviously he's getting absolutely destroyed at work. So shout out to Justin. Early shout out in the intro. I've switched it round. We'll do the intro at the end, Pat, yeah? I'll ask how you're doing at the end. How are you doing, buddy?
It's all frozen over out here. How about you?
Well, it snowed about 20-something inches. It was high. It's kind of a bit clearer now, but it's been raining loads, so hopefully it'll just be, I don't know, a bit smoother outside going forward.
I don't know. I came home from work last night. There was just all kinds of sleet. Everything was covered in a sheet of ice. And then I went to sleep and woke up and did this.
Did you go to sleep because you accidentally slipped outside and knocked yourself out? Is that what happened?
Thankfully not, but it was close a couple times.
It gets treacherous out here, man. And I've noticed there's a lot of neighborhoods obviously have that like the driveways kind of like almost angled down. And yeah. I just think that just makes for the most treacherous winters for everybody, doesn't it? I can just imagine them all like...
because that was where I almost slipped. I almost got out of my vehicle and slipped on that, which would have slid me underneath my vehicle. And then I guess if I would have been knocked out, I would have had shelter for the night.
There, you'd have been fine.
Under my vehicle.
Pat turns into a cat overnight. Cat Stewart. Right. Right. Anyway, well, should we get on with it? We've just had a Transformers live stream, which we've been keeping an eye on, just to see if any cool stuff popped up. Really good show. So shout out. I'm doing shout outs now. What's wrong with me? I'll do it at the end. Anyway, Pat, let's get into our first news item then, because it was actually I'd say it's quite a light week of news, because I wasn't really getting on the news burst with a lot of it. I was just posting, things. There were little bits and pieces here and there. But we've kind of turned it into an episode. So here we go with the first news item of the week in merchandise news. Over the past week, we had a few pieces of G.I. Joe merch dropping with their GameStop G.I. Joe trucker hats in red, white and blue for $16.99, and Chalkline Apparel dropped 2 new pairs of retro shorts. Get it? Drop their shorts. One pair features Storm Shadow in his original card art, complete with explosion from the waist up on the right hand side of the shorts, and his name up the other side. The other pair feature both Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes from the cover of the Marvel A Real American Hero issue 46, just all over your junk areas. The shorts will set you back a rather honking $54.99, but they do look pretty cool. All items are available online via the links in the descriptions should you want them. Pat, any of these grabbing you? You might notice that one of them grabbed me already.
No shorts grabbing me. Not this time.
Oh, I want to grab your shorts. They're kind of fun, but yeah, they're quite expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know. It's as far as wearing things go, I'm so used to artwork and things being on my shirt.
Yeah.
So if I had artwork on my shirt and my shorts at the same time, it may just be too much.
You see, I don't care about too much. I'll have it all over the place. Plus, let's face it, ain't exactly shorts weather right now, is it? We've just been talking about sliding down driveways. It's not something you want to be sliding down a driveway wearing, is it?
No, not at all. But maybe it is something that I need to give myself a reason to go out and get some exercise.
Good point. Good point. I'd still, in this weather, be wearing some sort of leggings underneath because it is cold.
This is definitely the kind of weather that you just skip the exercise and don't go running in.
I know. Just put 50 pounds on instead. That's what I'm doing. It's just,
I've already beaten you.
I doubt it. Let's have a fat off. You ready? I don't even know how that would work. Well, one of the items I did get, and that is this G.I. Joe red, white, and blue truck hat with. Look at that! How cool is that? The artwork from Marvel issue 1 on the front, and the carry case, and it's the tank. They're all jumping off the tank. You know what I'm talking about. If you're a G.I. Joe fan, you know what I'm talking about. Big shout out to Kate on that one. I'm going too early again with shout outs, but my wonderful wife bought me this for our anniversary, which is coming up on the 14th of Feb. Can't forget that, can I? Ever, really. So
no, not at all. Yeah.
Which is great. So yeah, thank you, honey. Appreciate that. And yeah, I love it. It's amazing. It's really cool. Now, I've noticed that a few people had these in hand as we posted the news that they were kind of up online. So I think they've been kind of floating around in GameStops for a little while now. Maybe not too long. Definitely something I hadn't seen before. So yeah, I really like this one. So yeah, awesome. Like I said, link in the description if you guys are interested. Really not much else to go on there. Perhaps maybe a little conversation about merchandise still being churned out. Are you surprised that we're still getting items, like how many months on?
Well, you know what? A little bit, because some of that marketing machine really got going because of the Snake Eyes movie. That really, I think, was what got it going.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much the Classified series as much as we'd like to think it was.
Yeah.
But I think the Classified series is helping to keep it going. We've certainly got a lot of momentum right now with G.I. Joe. And companies that are doing merchandise, I believe, are aware of that. G.I. Joe merchandise is now selling. Yeah. So I think that we'll probably still keep seeing it going for a while now.
I have to agree with that, and I would say that what is interesting is that you've got O-Ring relaunch, you've got multiple lines. We'll be talking about something else a little bit later on, it kind of related to this conversation, where yet another company have jumped on the bandwagon by the looks of things, all kind of a bit we're not fully in, we don't have all the information just yet, but it looks like another company are jumping on. It's pretty impressive to see this at the moment, and obviously Classified's really hot seller at the moment as well. So it's I think there's G.I. Joe's in an incredible position, and further proof of that are the kind of external crowdfunding projects, which have just gone bananas. 3D Joe's, obviously. Carson at 3D Joe's with the omnibus hardcover edition of his incredible art book. I call it the coffee table, not a coffee table book, a coffee table. It's going to be that big and heavy. But that has rocketed through the roof in terms of and it surpassed the Star Wars book that was out a number of years ago. So that's incredible. And then obviously, you've got the SKELETRON crowdfunder, which went bananas as well. It's pretty clear, isn't it, Pat? It's safe to say that the G.I. Joe brand is pretty thriving at the moment.
Yeah, that is true. I think what Carson's putting out is a good price for something that's kind of all encompassing. So if you're kind of just jumping on right now because of the Classified series, it's a good thing to pick up because you're going to be getting a lot of stuff all at once with that. But yeah, there's a lot going on with G.I. Joe right now. It is weird how we've gone from 0 to whatever speed you want to call this. We're going very, very fast now. They're firing on all cylinders.
I would say 336 trillion miles an hour at the moment. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like in bank terms. But yeah, okay, well, that's a conversation for a monthly, isn't it, down the line? It's the merch machine. We've actually, while we're talking about the monthly, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Pat, myself, and Adam Riches jumped on a recording to chat about the Classified series' current design direction recently, and we finally did our version therapy of Snake Eyes, which is fun. So we talk about our favourite versions of Snake Eyes. Next month, we're going to be doing the O-Ring special, Pat. You excited for that?
I am excited for that. I've been writing down thoughts that I have, things, I'm always holding back. Each time we're doing an episode, I have thoughts about O-rings. It's already happened during this one. I'm thinking about O-ring figures and how they pertain to the things that we talk about. I'm like, no, hold it off. We're going to do it. We're going to do a monthly and talk about O-ring stuff all at once. And I'm excited for it.
Absolutely. And also, I will throw one more thing in there. Our version therapy on the next monthly will be on this guy, Storm Shadow. So you'll get to see who our favourite version of this figure is as well then. Anyway, so right, let's move on to the next news topic then, Pat, which is, this is one that's funny because this company used to come up about, there would be a story every single week for about 6 weeks. And it's likely that's going to be the case again for the next few weeks. And that is in Renegade Game Studios news. Earlier in the week, Renegade Game Studios announced their next Renegade Con virtual event on March the 4th and 5th and posted the schedule, which shows that there will be more G.I. Joe related RPG and deck building game reveals. There will also be another miniature painting panel with Daddy Louie, who did a great job of painting Gung Ho on last year's stream. In addition to that, there will also be a playthrough with the G.I. Joe RPG, which should be fun and give us all a clear view of how to actually play the game. It's very likely we will see more from the mysterious announcements they made last year regarding some add-on content and that amazing cover posted by Elisa Teague that we reported on a number of weeks ago. We'll be keeping a close eye on the 2-day event and we'll report on any of the new fun and shiny things. Pat, are you excited to see what they've got in store further on from what we've already seen in this kind of like world of gaming?
I think they did a really good job last time with their stream, and I'm expecting the same. So yeah, this is something to look forward to, even though I'm not that into RPGs at all. It being a G.I. Joe one, I did buy it, and I would like to actually see a playthrough of the game so that I can kind of see, what would be the feasibility of playing this, say, online with some people.
Like us, for example. That would be so much fun. We need to do this. I know we talk about it a lot, but I think we definitely need to do that RPG online because I think that would be a lot of fun where we can talk about our characters that we've created and we can kind of like build them together and then we can, go on little missions. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah, and seeing them do it actually would generate some ideas rather than it just being so rough trying to get started on our own. Like I would be a little too intimidated, but I think that some of that intimidation will be taken away by actually seeing a playthrough of it. So this is going to be a good thing.
I'll lay an extra level of intimidation on it by making it a live stream. That would be even worse, wouldn't it? Think of the dead air on a live stream like that where we're just kind of going, what do we do now? I don't know what we do. What are we doing? I never know what to do.
Just reading instructions.
Just hang on. I've just got to read this.
Hang on.
It's the whole book. I've just got to read this whole book. Hold on for 3 hours. Just talk amongst yourselves. That's what's going to happen. I can guarantee it. Anyway, super excited for this. I've got a feeling there's going to be some... because obviously they revealed a ton of add-on stuff that they gave us like titles for, but they didn't give us any kind of like real visual stuff. So I think there was one that was like... I forget what it's called now. Operation like Cold Underpants or something like that. Iron something. Cold Iron, was it? Have I made that up? Operation Cold Iron? I think I've made that up. I need like
still stuck in the Storm Shadow Underpants.
Exactly.
The cold Storm Shadow Underpants. If you're just mixing things that we talked about earlier,
Constantly.
The cold outside and the underpants.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Don't stop pulling my shorts down. Basically, get in the comments and let us know what it's called. I think it's like Iron something. Iron Front. Anyway, Iron Y Fronts. That's what it's called. Anyway, let us know in the comments because I've completely forgotten. I feel terrible for not knowing because obviously we don't really report on much, so it's easy. It should be easy for me to recall all this. Lols. But yeah, there's some really interesting kind of aspects and also a Cobra related RPG as well because obviously the G.I. Joe one is you're on a G.I. Joe mission, so I get the feeling we're going to be getting some sort of Cobra based stuff as well, which I'm just excited to see where all this stuff's going. We had that amazing cover which Elisa Teague posted a number of weeks back now, probably the end of last year. We actually spoke, I think Tom Whalen jumped on the show for that one, Pat. I don't think you were on that episode. And we discussed that artwork with him, and he didn't do it, but we were kind of going through it. And it's this really gorgeous piece where you've got rattlers. It's like a jungle scene. You've got two ferrets with like Cobra Troopers on them. Have you actually seen that yet? And two sharks
Maybe I haven't.
Coming out of the water. It's like a painted.
Maybe I think I haven't.
It's a beautiful painted scene. It's really cool. You should check it out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what that cover relates to, because Elisa Teague did say that she was going to be revealing that, and I don't think we got any more information about it. So I'm looking forward to all of this stuff in March. Well, yeah, and like I said, we'll be reporting on it. We'll be staying on top of it, and we may even, we'll be doing either on a weekly or we'll do like a live stream or something to talk about the reactions. But yeah, anyway, excited for that one. Next up then, and this is just a funny story, and I actually put it in mainly because we're going to have Justin on, and I wanted to like jokingly chat with him about NFL because he's a big, American football fan. But we're going to do it anyway, Pat, and that's in NFL news. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Earlier in the week, meme creators all over the globe rushed to their Photoshop applications in reaction to the new name announcement for the Washington Commanders NFL team. As you can imagine, the internet went mad, and out came all the Cobra Commander memes, rocking the Washington red, and with the additional logo, of course. What do you think of the name, Pat? Are you surprised at that name choice?
I really wish Justin was here. Because, to be quite honest, I think that he and I are at the opposite ends of the scale of football fandom. As much as he loves football, I really don't care about football. I really don't care. I did think it was funny that I did see this. It was everywhere in G.I. Joe.
Oh, you can't miss it, yeah.
Yeah, you can't miss it. And it ended up being out there, in the non-G.I. Joe fandom world online. And I saw people going, and they added a mascot too? And it's like, no, they haven't added a mascot.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Because this is Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe.
I would be so into that. If they revealed they're doing a collaboration with Hasbro to do a crossover, I would be so into seeing that every game.
Yeah, no, I just don't. It's funny what people did and how fast they did it.
It was rapid.
And just the word commander immediately for so many people means Cobra Commander.
Yep.
So that's funny. But yeah, it's football. I don't really care.
Exactly. I'm a Bears fan by originally, so as you can tell how much I care about American football as well.
we just talked about it recently. It's weird for me to hear of humans that aren't fans of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the team that people are fans of in my world growing up. So it's just bizarre to me to hear that there are people who are fans of other teams.
I call them the Pittsburgh Feelers. Anyway, next up then, we'll get into some news that we can actually get our teeth into on this one, Pat. And that is something that dropped just a few hours ago, but obviously, today, yesterday, if you're watching this on as you would watch it, and that's in Haya Toys news. A few hours ago, or yesterday, as you watch this, Haya Toys dropped a huge teaser image showing a number of possible new licenses for 2022 in silhouette form, including what is clearly a Cobra logo. The post included the caption, 2022 project, starry-eyed smiley face emoji, hashtag Haya Toys, hashtag action figure. Now, Haya Toys are known for their 1/18 scale 4-inch figures, which in the past has been an area that Hasbro have avoided allowing other companies to operate in, for obvious reasons, but now that the retro 4-inch line is on a temporary hiatus, as they focus on O-ring and 6-inch classified figures, we could see them licensing the brand out to Haya to do 4-inch style figures. Haya Toys have branched out to the 1/12 scale, aka 6-inch, but I doubt Hasbro would entertain another 6-inch or similar scale due to their own classified series and of course Mezco having a license as well. It is clear that reveals will be coming very soon, so we will keep you up to date with any information that comes our way regarding this. But Pat, how crazy out of left field was this? Because I was not expecting Haya Toys to be jumping on board this.
Yeah, I almost don't want to jump to conclusions as to what this may mean, but obviously the gap that's been left by the end of the retro line at Walmart, and honestly, the gap that was left by the retro line while it was at Walmart, not really doing what we wanted it to do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping this fills. G.I. Joe has existed at many scales. If we get this, the only thing that we're really missing is a traditional 12-inch G.I. Joe, I think. And in some ways that has been filled. We have been getting larger scale things, just not quite similar to that 1964 able to swap out parts G.I. Joe.
Action Man, it's pronounced Action Man, just in case you were struggling with the...
Oh, really? Action Man was a huge contributor. Hey, I'm sporting the...
Mate, I love it. I was gonna say, I like it a lot. I love that shirt. Amazing.
But yeah, I think that whenever Hasbro revealed some of the retro stuff, and it just was a little lackluster, I started thinking that maybe what we needed was somebody like Super 7 to step in, as they did with the Masters of the Universe Classics, and kind of continue on, but be willing to spend a little bit more and to charge a little bit more. Like for the lack of quality we were getting on some of those retro figures, I almost wished that I was just spending like another $10 per figure, and getting new parts on all the figures, and getting figures that we still haven't gotten. How we had the 25th and on up line for as long as we did, and we never got a Ninja Commando or a Ninja Force Snake Eyes, is beyond me. I don't know how that happened. And there are other figures that we're missing. There are plenty of figures that would be great to update. The Retro Roadblock, for example, was a good figure.
Yep.
And a lot of those older Joes would be kind of nice to see again in 4-inch form. I know that I've heard a lot of people upset that Hasbro is doing the O-ring stuff and is not doing 4-inch, and they want us, they feel like we should move on. I feel like there's always been a market for both of those to exist. And I'll get into this more. Like I said earlier, I have a lot to talk about O-ring, but I think that they need to really hit all the marks on keeping those O-ring figures looking as vintage as possible. I often see people go, well, but they could just add this one thing to update them. No, if you're thinking about updating things, I think that you should just be putting all that effort into a new 4-inch line.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping Hiya does. I only have one Hiya 4-inch figure.
So
it's the glow-in-the-dark RoboCop, but it's really good. The hands were a little bit difficult to swap out. But again, like, if that's what they're doing, I'm going to be really excited for it.
How does that RoboCop scale? It was RoboCop you just said, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was RoboCop.
Sorry, I had a brain fart that you may have said something completely different there. How does that RoboCop scale with 4-inch figures? Because the Haya Toys Space Marines, because I got the APC, which is beautiful, it's so much fun, but the figure that it came with seemed to be a little bit smaller in scale to like a female retro figure like Scarlet or the Baroness.
I don't have them right here. I could run and get him if you wanted me to.
No. So just
from memory, I think that he's RoboCop, so he should be a little bit taller in that scale.
Yep.
And he's definitely shorter than, say, Roadblock. He's probably, I don't know how he would compare to a Snake Eyes. So yeah, that's a good point. I hope that if they do a 4-inch line, that it scales well with the hundreds of 4-inch figures we've already gotten, rather than being out of scale. Now, the ones that we've gotten, to be honest, the scale on those has kind of gotten a bump over the years, because it's really hard to look at a figure that measures in at 5 inches and still be calling it part of the 4-inch line.
Yeah.
It's different humans have different sizes, so I can accept that. But, like somebody like RoboCop probably should have been on the taller side of things.
Yeah.
They do have, if you're stopping into GameStop for the G.I. Joe hat, take a look, because there were some Haya Toys 4-inch scale whenever I was there last time. They had a 2-pack, I think, of Aliens, which, of course, they're going
to be massive.
The Xenomorph from Aliens is going to be a little bit oddly scaled. But yeah, I really hope. Here I am going on and on.
I know, we've jumped the gun, haven't we? We've massively jumped the gun, but it's pretty... I mean, it's safe to assume, one, they're going to be doing something related to G.I. Joe. The Cobra logo, they can't use that that is literally a trademarked thing, so they can't like just throw it on there just for lols. And also they are a company that deals with official licenses. They don't do like bootleg stuff because they've got actual licenses that they work with. So I think like it's an educated guess, even if it is a guess, but G.I. Joe is going to be something to do with their 2022 lineup. We don't know what it is. I mean, it could be that they do. It could be they're jumping on it with they've recently started doing 6-inch figures, so 6-inch scale figures. So that, but then that's difficult to think of because you've got Classified, you've got Mezco, you've got arguably you've also kind of got Super 7 doing Ultimates in a similar scale.
They're close. Yeah.
There's a lot of competition, isn't there, in that arena? And Haya Toys, as with all due respect to Haya Toys, I think they would probably suggest they come in about 4th in that list of companies at the moment. So in terms of like getting a good hold on a market, that's probably not the best thing to start with, is it? I think there is a bit of a gap though for 4-inch articulated modern G.I. Joe figures at the moment. So it could be that Hasbro are kind of saying, we'll let you do that, and here is what we want you to do with it, possibly. I don't know. How do you think? I mean, again, this is all speculative. We don't know, and it might not even be that at all.
Yeah, I think that whenever there's a market for something, there's definitely, as far as G.I. Joe goes, we were firing on all cylinders earlier. At least I did. But the gaps that are there, certainly one of the biggest ones is modern 4-inch figures. That's one of the things that I've loved. It's weird how if you look at the 4-inch line, it evolved directly from 3 3/4. Like you can see the small steps that it took to get there. So the 4-inch line is part of the O-ring continuation, but it's definitely the modern incarnation of that. I want those O-ring figures to fit with my old stuff, but I do want there to be 4-inch. So if we find out that Hiya is not doing that and say they're doing some sort of other merchandise or the newest incarnation of big-headed G.I. Joe toys that I'm so tired of. If they're not doing 4-inch stuff, then I'm still hopeful that somebody would. That, like I said, Super 7 did those Masters of the Universe classics. Another company could take over and do a licensed version for a short period of time.
Yeah. Just
to scratch that itch that we all have.
Very true.
Most of us have.
And I think the more we talk about it, the more I'm thinking they're going to be doing a 4-inch scale. What I've got a feeling they might end up doing is something that doesn't really fit with the 4-inch modern necessarily, and they'll be doing their own thing from scratch and building their own little line, which again is also fine, but that doesn't obviously, that wouldn't be ticking a certain box personally, for me to like, go back over the core character hump, which we're obviously going to get initially. It's going to be Duke, Cobra Commander, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow. You know the deal. So now, if it was like super close to what we've had in like Pursuit of Cobra, Retaliation, like that kind of like real high-end G.I. Joe 4-inch modern, right? If it was similar to that and they came out with, the first characters they came out with were like Lightfoot, Downtown, Ninja Force, Snake Eyes, and Ice Cream Soldier, I'd be all in, like 100%. But that's not going to happen, is it? Really? Let's be real.
That's not going to happen. But I mean, that core character hump that those were the ones that we got early on in the 25th line. So at this point, a lot of those are ones that do need to be improved. Storm Shadow.
Yeah, he's all right.
That Retaliation one, I don't know how they would top that one.
No.
Roadblock's been done, but Duke, he's a core character. And honestly, as far as 4-inch Duke figures go, that's a big gap that just is not out there. So
it's mental
I would
to think.
love to see Hiya release a Duke, a version 1 update Duke.
My personal opinion, but it's funny in from my perspective to see the best version of a 4-inch Duke in the Resolute line. Do you know what I mean? Like to see the best version of him is not the original classic kind of design and everything. Like the first 25th figure's a bit ropey with the horrible, the cut in the arms, in the forearms. The Tiger Force version obviously basically adopts all of that tooling, doesn't it, or most of the tooling. The O-Face Duke is one of the worst decisions ever made. It only ever needed to be once as a novelty, and I'd have been okay with it, honestly. I'd have been fine with it, just as a novelty on its own.
I was fine with it whenever it was only out there one.
Yeah.
But the second time it was like,
yeah,
do we need this? And the third time it was like, wow. You really didn't listen to us on the second time, did you?
No. Nope. Anyway, yeah, so you're right. There are definitely characters that could... Well, but you know, we look at the core characters, though, and it really is only Duke, I think, because I know maybe... No, yeah, because Gung Ho got a redesign.
Well...
You know, I'm talking about, like, you know, let's say Scarlet's okay. You know what I mean? Like, she's had a No, would you not agree with that?
The retro Scarlet is nice. It definitely, of the retro line, it's one that you shouldn't miss. But that figure at this point is ridiculously expensive.
Okay.
Just the expense of it tells me that there's still demand for a Scarlet that looks like version 1 Scarlet. But looking at that figure, you know, it's built from the parts of other figures, and then the pad that's on her shoulder is just paint. It's not something that's sculpted on. So I think that if you were able to do a ground up design that is new tooling for Scarlet, that could be an amazing figure. So there's definitely room for a new 4-inch Scarlet, especially Duke. Destro.
Yeah, Destro's fine. Destro's perfect.
Destro's
perfect.
Awesome.
Roadblock's fine.
Roadblock's really good.
In fact, I'd argue that Tiger Force Roadblock's one of my favorite ever figures in the 4-inch, the FSS one. I think that is
the retro Roadblock was really good too.
Yeah.
Like, people complained about the vest. You take the vest off, he has the traditional tank top. That was a really solid figure. You know, that was one of the ones that made me go, oh, maybe, you know, the retro line could go on. But then, you know, we also got Stalker from that line, and I looked at that body and kind of thought that it could just be used for a lot more Joes, including Snake Eyes, because the version, I think it's 54, the one that we just talked about on the monthly, Pursuit of Cobra one, that is an outstanding figure, one of the best figures from the line. I love that, but since we get so much Snake Eyes, looking at that Stalker, I kind of thought that eventually we would get a Snake Eyes from that mold as well, and I was fine with that. You know, I where I don't have a Snake Eyes is one that would look okay on that body with a head sculpt that looks like the traditional goggles.
Yeah,
we could see another version 1 Snake Eyes. That'd be fine from Hiya. I'm already getting into this a little too deep, I think.
But like, even so, thinking about the modern, like, early kind of core characters, yes, 25th needs an overhaul, but most of them kind of have been overhauled by the end of that 4-inch modern line. But there are, like you said, there's a few. Like, Scarlet isn't perfection. Duke is definitely in need of something. And
but like Flint.
And Flint can definitely do with a good doing over as well.
My mind's going back to those initial multi-packs of the 25th
that's why I said Gung Ho.
Thinking about updating those, but there's some of them just even just shortly into the 25th line. Like, is there really a great Serpentor in 4-inch?
No,
not really. And Hiya, the way that their detail is, they could really do a good Serpentor.
Yeah,
they could really do Serpentor.
We see again, like, I agree with you, but I think from a like a practical point of view, I see Hiya doing their own thing on their own scale in their own. Do you know what I mean? That's but again,
I agree.
That's really just a guess. But I'm just thinking that's probably what's going to happen.
In some ways, maybe they would do that just to avoid you from settling for the old thing that you already have.
Exactly. Yeah. And it is sometimes it does paint you into a corner as well if you don't go about it your own way. I would say, like, if you try and, because like we've said loads, like, oh, how great, you know, before the company has revealed something, we'll say something like, oh, that'd be great if it's going to be like the same, you know, like Flame Toys, for example, when those figures came out and it was like a 6-inch-ish scale, we were all like getting excited that Ore Striker might fit a classified figure, that the motorbikes might be great for classified. Probably isn't going to be the case because we're talking that they're closer to about 5 inches in height. Therefore, the vehicles are a bit smaller. Therefore, the classified figures probably won't fit into those vehicles. Like we even said it with the Jada Toys truck. How cool would it be if the classified figures actually went in there? So I get that you kind of get the feeling eventually that, well, maybe these companies do have to kind of do their own thing in order to have people want to come back and and create their collection within that line.
Yeah, for sure. Things like it, they probably wouldn't want to have a situation where they've come out with 2 waves and here comes Storm Shadow, but everybody's happier with the Retaliation Storm Shadow, and so they're going to skip that, or the Retaliation Cobra Commander, which is also an amazing figure.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of those, I think that you're right. They probably will do their own thing. I just kind of hope that they're a little bit bigger, because personally, I think that Haya puts enough detail into their stuff. Like those initial Alien Marines that you talked about, those ones really, they were an okay start.
Yep.
But they're not as good as what Haya has done more recently.
No,
not at all.
Definitely.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Haya has definitely upped their game. I've played around also with the Predator. The Predator's a little bit taller.
Predator looks amazing. The aliens they're releasing now look much better. The Power Loader and the APC were outstanding as vehicles.
Yeah.
And like that Judge Dredd they've just kind of recently brought out. This is going to be in 4 and 6 inch. Looks outstanding. And you're right, like they look so much better. The Predator stuff looks incredible. Yeah,
the Predators are nice. They are tall. They're about I think they're about 5 inches. But again, it's a Predator. You should be, if you're scaled 4 inch, he would be one of the taller characters. So yeah, I'm hoping that they do scale well. As much as we've said that they probably won't for their own reasons, I am still going to be a little bit let down if they don't scale with the 25th stuff and all the things that we've gotten since then.
I think we're going to be slightly disappointed, but then also maybe get over it.
Yeah, I'll probably buy it anyway. That's what's going to happen.
We're definitely going to get over it and buy it, and it'll be fine. Anyway, yeah, well, that's Haya Toys, and obviously we'll bring you any more news that we get about that, which is probably happening right as we speak, Pat, and probably by the time I'm editing this, we'll know exactly what is coming out, and I'll have to do some sort of news burst about it anyway, and this will be late. Anywho.
It'll be like a Trapper Keeper or a, who knows, like some sort of merchandise thing that all this conversation was for nothing.
I hope it's just a series of Trapper Keepers. That would be amazing.
I don't even know where that came from in my brain. I was just thinking of anything that hasn't been out there with a G.I. Joe logo on it. Saw a Trapper Keeper this week.
And also hasn't been out for about 30 years in general.
No, I saw a Trapper Keeper on clearance at Walmart. They brought them back. Yeah, they're out.
Absolute beast. Anyway, right, well, that brings us to the end of the news segment for this week. Still managed to get about 40 minutes out of that, Pat. We are incredible. Right, next up then, let's get into shout-outs, shall we?
Okay.
Hey there, guys. Just wanted to let you know about an app that I've been helping to develop for a few years now called Hoarder. But what is Hoarder, I hear you scream? Well, a number of years ago, I discussed a project with a good friend of mine and now co-owner/developer about an app that could help collectors of all shapes and sizes. I'm talking about the shapes and sizes of the collections really, but also people. The app would be a place where you could share your new items, build collections and sub-collections, or just browse the feed to see cool things. Well, we made it. We tested it for a number of years, and now it's out there for you to enjoy on iOS or Android devices. You can upload a single item at a time at your own pace and slowly build your collections. You can post status updates that could be related to your collections, like getting a delivery or posting a scene in which you can tag items in that image if you've uploaded them in the past. You can add tags to your items in order to easily search for and find them, and of course to add them into your respective collections. You can like posts, comment on them, or start a conversation with a fellow collector, directly message users you follow, and even add items you see on your feed to your want list. If you prefer to use your computer or laptop, have no fear, you can use the website browser version and even utilise the awesome inventory option, allowing any user to change certain details, add notes, upload bulk items from spreadsheet files, and download a CSV of your entire itemised collection. We made this app for collectors, and we hope that you enjoy using it as much as we enjoyed creating it. Now get to hoarding.
You got 40 minutes out of that because you were like, Pat, O-rings.
Oh yeah,
and 4-inch stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe you didn't even bring up O-rings. You were just like, Pat.
I'm pretty sure I just asked you any question,
stuff.
and you just started talking about O-rings randomly. That's what happened. No, it's amazing, mate, and I love your viewpoint on everything. It's great. Take us through some shout outs. I know who's going to be first, but
shout out to Philip, of course. Yeah. And
to Pip.
Shout out to Evan, who's inspired me to up the game I have back here with, like, I've got nothing going on from that Transformers live stream. I looked behind him and I'm like, oh man, I need to change some things out back here. It's been a while.
I don't even think he's got shelves. I think it's just literally just piled a ton of toys up behind. I think it's like a 17-foot pile of toys that he's just resting in like that. It's amazing. It's like a Game of Thrones chair with all knives, but with just toys. It was unreal, the amount of stuff behind him. You talk about not having stuff behind you, mate. I've still got a Christmas tree that I'm going to be calling the Valentine's Day tree very soon. And, you know, that just a lot of negative space. So don't worry about that too much.
Valentine's tree, wouldn't that then be an anniversary tree then for you, I guess?
Absolutely. A valentursary. Happy valentursary. Yeah, that's what we call it. Anyway, that's I'll be doing that on next week's show. And how many days are we away? 10.
Yeah,
10
days.
Time. 2 weeks time. We'll talk about all that crap. Any other shout-outs?
Yeah, I got this week. So shout out to Walmart.
Lovely. They were just showing that off on the stream as well.
Yeah, I just thought that I'd bring it up because the fact that they're showing it off on the stream, it made me think, oh, hey, I can actually show that I managed to find something, you know, relatively quickly. I'm not the last guy to get something, at least.
I know that feeling.
And I like this one. They've recolored Tigatron in something that's closer to his animation colors. And I actually think it's cool that he's in the rock bubble. Rock bubbles, I don't believe anything that we've gotten Tigatron in before, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous... I love that. Because wasn't it that the Hasbro version was a slightly kind of almondy color?
It was, yeah. And then the Takara one, which I do actually have as well, is the original
animated
one that matched the animation.
Yeah.
And then I think Takara, and maybe in the Telemoka line or something like that, they put out Tigatron again in white, and this would be the third one that's been done in white. So, yeah, those vintage Tigatrons are not that yellowed. They just were like an almond color.
Yeah, they started yellow and got yellower. Any others?
I'll probably be inspired to remember some of them whenever you start talking, because I'm awful and I forget people that have done things that are great, and then I do it every week. I need to just have a marker board or something in this room that I just put my shout outs throughout the week.
I just have a ridiculous show document that I keep up to date as soon as something happens to me. Like I don't have another life or anything to kind of focus on. Anyway, speaking of which, as always, stamp that bingo card. Big shout out to all the family and to my wonderful wife Kate. Love you all. It's going to be our anniversary on the 14th, and also Valentine's Day. We just got lucky, I guess. And Kate got me this gorgeous hat. Look. Isn't it amazing? I think it's great. I really like this. And not just that, but the fact that it's got that underneath just makes it even cooler. So I'm like one of the cool kids now. Trucker style, G.I. Joe, patch, lovely stuff. I'm in. So what else? To Brian Sauer for the awesome Winter Ninja Force Storm Shadow version 3 graphics, which are just amazing. We've still got the snow theme because obviously it's still, like we said at the beginning, it's treacherous out there. Massive shout out to SKELETRON for dropping their backer kit, and I can really get into the news now that I produced another track with Wordburglar for the special vinyl record release added to the backer kit. Really excited for everyone to hear that, and you can order one and many other awesome things in the backer kit pre-order store, link in the description. What can I tell you about that song? I can tell you the title, which is called I Get to Drive It, which is it's brilliant. Effectively, you can probably work it out, but Wordburglar does the rapping on it, obviously. And I produced the track, which is amazing. So, as I don't say so myself. I've heard, he hasn't recorded it yet, funnily enough, but I have heard him perform it, and it's outstanding, guys. You're going to love it. Also, Cosmic Orphan, shout out to them. That's Ben's brother's group. they do a track on the other side of that vinyl. So yeah, it's going to be really cool.
And the art is awesome too.
Oh, can I just say, to be involved in a project that has Ken Kelly's artwork on it, I couldn't get my head around that the other night, and it hadn't really sunk in. Hasn't really sunk in yet until you just mentioned it. Then it still hasn't sunk in that Ken Kelly's art is on a vinyl record that I produce a piece of music on. That is like, I don't know what to say other than like life achievement unlocked, basically, is all I can say about that.
Yeah, really. Like classic album artist. And yeah, I really like Ken Kelly stuff. He does such a good job. The Micronaut stuff, it pulls me in for sure to see his artwork on all that Skeletron stuff that's coming out. I'm excited to get all that.
I know. Didn't he do the Skeledrones artwork as well?
I think so. Yeah, he's done a few things.
That's wicked too. I love the dynamism of that. Like they're kind of. It reminds me very much of like the back of the Transformers artwork. The back of the box Transformers artwork from G1 and further on, where it had like, things were transforming, so they would kind of be in the distance as one format, and then they'd be fully transformed by the time they got to in shot, kind of like perspective views. It kind of gives me that kind of vibe, because you've got like 3 different Skeledrones in different like positions, kind of getting closer to like the camera, as it were. And I just absolutely adore it. There's like real Dan Dare vibes in there too. I love his artwork. It's just spectacular. Him and Ian Kennedy doing the box art too.
We're so fortunate that he's still doing art,
big time,
and so prolific about it. Like he's done a lot of stuff. He's got a real Frank Frazetta kind of style to him. Wasn't he like a protege of? I believe so. Yeah, and Frazetta's stuff is amazing, and Ken Kelly is. Created his own name in his work. And Ben was talking to me about that at Assembly Required, like a day before it dropped. And I was just blown away that was who he had gotten to do the art. It was like, are you kidding me?
When he called me here and told me, and I'm like, again, it did not sink in. I'm just like, I was in shock when I got off the phone, and I'm just like, how has he done that? I apparently just contacted him and was just like, asked him straight out, and it was just like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Crazy. But yeah, and also I will, so like link in the description for the backer kit. There's like a pre-order store, so you can actually go in and you can buy lots of different things. I don't think you have to have backed the Kickstarter necessarily. There is a pre-order store which you can kind of get involved in as well. And that's where you can get the record too. So it is an add-on. So if you did get an all-in, you won't be able to get the Gary kind of Jaya Viper figures, the Jungle Trooper figures, and I think the record. Those are the 3. Well, I say 3, but there's obviously 2 scales.
5.
Yeah, 2 scales of the figures. So it's 5 items that if you've got an all-in and you want Gary in 6 and 4 inches, and you want Jungle Trooper in 6 and 4, and you want the record, then you'll have to add them separately to your backer kit. I also need that explaining to me as I was tentatively going through my backer kit with Ben on the phone, like, what do I do?
Well, the backer kit stuff, I believe that it does have a backer kit symbol thing in there. There's like a little, looks like a tent kind of thing.
Yeah.
The logo is on the things that actually are new, but you've just listed all of them for everybody, so it should be easy enough.
There you go, guys. Go nuts. Again, I'm so excited for all that to come in. So massive shout out to Skeletron, to Ben, to Mark, to all of the guys involved. Love you all, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure being involved in this project. Something I also want to shout out, because I've always mentioned Wordburglar. Wordburglar as well. Double shout out, you get Bergs. He's got a brand new crowdfunding project on Bandcamp, a new vinyl album, the MacGuffin device. I say new, it's older songs, 14 tracks, but they've never been on vinyl before. And obviously a lot of G.I. Joe classics in there. The MacGuffin device, one of my favourite tracks he did. It's packed. It's a brilliant album. So you can check that out. Links in the description below. And you can jump on to get the actual vinyl record Really, I think it's not very expensive at all, and obviously there are bigger pledges. You can obviously pledge more money to get more cool things, including like signed lyric sheets, test pressings, which I do have a Welcome to Cobra Island test pressing, which I'm very proud of. Like I love that I managed to get on board with that. I'm not sure by the time this goes out there were like 8 remaining, I think, of the test pressing option, which is, you know, a high end pledge level. But if you want one of those, best get a move on. I don't imagine to stay, you know, available for very long. And shout out to Brian Sauer, who did a phenomenal job on the cover art. It is absolutely gorgeous, super vibrant, like colourful as all hell, but just there's so many cool things. Like I think each song, if you look at the artwork, each track on there has a visual representation on that cover. So if you look at how Wordburglar's being like, he's almost wearing Chuckles kind of clothing as well, which I love. But like the box is open and it's blown him back and the hat's come off, and then there's this like kind of like effect coming off the back of him, which has got all of the different visual versions of the songs kind of in that kind of space, which is brilliant. So it's beautiful artwork, isn't it?
Yeah. I actually need to take a look at that myself. I just hearing your descriptions of it, but Brian always does really good work, so I'm eager to see that. He
really does do great work, and he does work for us all the bloody time as well. So massive shout out to Brian too. Yeah, that's I think that's all my shout outs. Any other Oh, I will shout out as well. Sorry. I actually forgot to do this last week, Pat, so I hope you can indulge me for a second. I didn't shout out my wonderful Auntie Jan, whose birthday it was the day we recorded, I believe, on the Friday. So I should have known better, and I should have put a shout out to my lovely Auntie Jan. I'm going to do it now. Massive shout out to Jan, Martin, and their little dog Dylan, who's adorable. Love you guys so much, and honestly cannot wait to see when I can finally make it out to the UK, because it's getting ridiculous now. It's been over 2 years since I last saw, you know, obviously my mum and dad came out here, but you know, so many more family and friends I haven't been able to see for over 2 years, which I know I'm not the only person, by the way. I know you've suffered from that too as well, Pat, and many other people have around the world. So, but I just wanted to shout out Auntie Jan. Love you very much. I hope you get to see this, because Mum will probably send it to you, because she watches every episode, doesn't she, Pat? She's like our biggest fan, Mrs. McLeod.
She does, yeah. Yeah, shout out to your mom again.
She also, this is great, and I love her for this. But
is she go on the bingo card?
She should be, shouldn't she?
You have to spot her comment and then bingo.
Dude, that is so awesome. She's gonna love that. She's gonna love being involved in the bingo card, which I will reveal. Brian Sauer's working on something funny for us for that. So you may even, while watching the weekly or the monthly or whatever you want to watch during the week from all of our content, you'll be able to use your bingo card, your weekly bingo card that Brian Sauer can start bringing it up. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have some proper interactivity there. But yeah, so big shout out to the whole family as well, of course. But yeah, really want to pinpoint my Auntie Jan.
Yeah, I should probably mention that my nephew's birthday was yesterday, so it's all. We're getting into birthday season. There's so many birthdays. Like once March hits, it's like crazy with birthdays, I swear.
I also argue November's pretty big on November.
November is big, yes.
And there's multiple reasons for that. Mainly it has to do with obviously the Valentine's Day area and other things as well, like the winter, you know, being stuck indoors. I'm not going to get into the details. It's a family show, Pat. This is a family show. None of that blue talk here. Anyway, any other shout outs while we remember? Can't really think of any right off the top of my head now. Oh, I will shout out Boss Fight, who are going to be doing tons of reveals in February as well, which I'll be helping out with. So massive shout out to Boss Fight, because they've already started. The Power Stars they revealed the other day. How cool are they?
Power Stars are awesome.
Oh, yeah. Love them. And I love how kind of like superpowersy they look. You know what I mean? Like, I just love that. The fact that, you know, you might have like a Flash and a Ming kind of been able to mix in now with like your Spider-Man and your Captain Americas and stuff like that. I'm just really excited about that.
Well, not so much Spider-Man and Captain America. I would think more, you know, Shazam and Superman and Flash and the superpowers kind of characters, not
Good
the Secret
point.
Wars.
I'm thinking Secret Wars, aren't I? Which also, there's multiple things I think he's going to work with. Sorry, that was a slip of my tongue.
Aquaman. We have to, if you're going to mix it with stuff, I think that for Eric, you have to have them interact with Aquaman.
Kind of have to say that for Eric, don't we? But yeah, like I'm excited to see. These look great. They look fantastic, and really, I think going to look really nice as like little retro kind of throwbacks. Yeah,
they're really nice. I'm hoping to see the ones that people have in hand. Take a look at those.
Absolutely.
Once they're actually out.
Absolutely. Right. I think that's all of the shout outs. Of course, we continue to support the LGBTQ plus community, and as always, stand fast with the Asian and Pacific Islander communities in saying stop Asian hate. We do not discriminate against any minority and want the show to be a fun and safe environment for anybody, no matter their background. To our patrons, listeners, viewers, guys, thank you so much for everything. We got more patrons. Pat joined us, so big shout out to all of you new guys in the crew. We've had a cool live episode I did in the week for everyone. That seemed to go down really well. Went on for over 2 hours. Yep, I can talk, can't I? Bloody hell, I'm terrible.
Did you bring up O-rings? Was that what it was?
I just talked about O-rings the entire time. No, and also we've got loads more intel coming for you in the next couple of weeks as well. So can't wait for you guys to see all of that. Right, I think that's everything, Pat. Mate, thank you for jumping on and chatting again through the week.
Thanks again. I really appreciate it. It's fun as always.
As always, stamp that bingo card. I think that
I did that unintentionally as well.
That has to be the phrase that's used most often on the show, I think. The fact that you're using it now as well.
Yeah, using it now. As always, we will use as always.
But it's said more than full force. We should do that at the end. The shout should be as always rather than full force, shouldn't it? No, let's do full force. Okay, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you for watching the Full Force Weekly. Massive thank you to my awesome co-host, Patrick Notpicard Stewart. See you next time. And as always, see? 1, 2, 3.
Full force!
Amazing. You definitely came in early there, didn't you, to make sure that you met me?
I did. I actually looked at the last time and I'm like, where's my timing off? Okay, I'm a little late. I need to go a little bit earlier than he does. That's what I did. You called me on it.
But it's good. You nailed it like that. So it's good. You've actually beat me. When you see this back, I won't mess with it. I'll just show it as it is. But you beat me to the full force. We'll get there.
For weeks on my end, we're doing it at the same time. But there's that little bit of latency that's causing me to be a little bit behind in the recording. But hey.
How good is it when we're going to be able to get round a table, like all of us, and actually have microphones in front of us and do like a kind of proper podcast? That would be great, wouldn't it?
Should I just wait when we do that then and just say full force after everybody else?
just don't say anything at all. Just be like... And
at that point, because it won't be as always as much, we could just be like, as never done before, here we are all together.
We've got to get it right as well, because we're all together. We have to get the timing perfect. Anyway, right. We're still recording, by the way, so I'll leave all that in. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.